Hey y'all, welcome back to Insanity with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a collective coffee. We're just gonna talk about what's going on in the world. I took yesterday off because pretty sure I have a kidney stone, so I'm trying to break it up. I had kidney stones back in my early 20s. So I don't know what's going on, but it is a very familiar pain, constant, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So anyway, I'm breaking them up. I read that you can break them up with, because I had to have surgery. I couldn't break mine up before, and so you can break them up with like really acidic juices. So I'm doing apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, cranberry juice, and orange juice. And my pain is better today than it was yesterday. Anyway, there's a few things going on. A lot of people are talking about Erin, the hurricane, and there's already flooding I saw in North Carolina. Also, the ground invasion has started in Gaza. I mean, more so than it already has been. They've had a consistent presence on the ground, like foot soldiers throughout the past couple years. Marley's right here. Can you see his ear? Are we playing? Anyway, Mr. Hootie got out yesterday, or he went out, but he was here this morning. Also, they just opened up a new concentration camp. I'm working in Nebraska. A lot of people are speculating what's happening on the East Coast with Erin is like going to be a catalyst for harm. Also want to talk about this Virginia thing because I ended up on like the ice cream truck side of TikTok yesterday. There's a fly. Yeah, kill those motherfuckers. Do your part. Oh, also I got this book yesterday, When God Was a Woman. I'm not gonna be able to get that all the way read by Monday, when we're going to talk about world religion for exploring esoterics. Well, it doesn't have to be Monday, but that's when I did it last week, so whatever, it'll be Monday. So the new concentration camp in Nebraska. So what's happening here in the United States is like there's like all of these different fronts, and I think that's what people have a hard time conceptualizing if they choose to think about it at all. I'm watching Good Will Hunting. It's free on YouTube. Not really watching it, it's on. I watched Pretty in Pink this morning. Again, I watched like 5 minutes and then I laid down. But anyway, I don't remember what the Nebraska concentration camp is. So people are continuing to be raided in Los Angeles. I saw some footage from Brooklyn yesterday about the seemingly martial law. So like, I know I'm all over the place. It's just who I am. I think that what's important to think about, because I'm not rubbing your tummy right now. Okay, I'm making a video. I love you though. Let me just flirt. Anyway, I think what's interesting is that because the landmass of the United States is so large, and Americans just don't really have a concept of war because they are in the belly of the beast, right? They are within the confines of a country that's pretty much never attacked unless it's an inside job, right? So there's a lot happening. I didn't even talk about the senator that got locked up in Texas? I don't know, by her other employee or other Congress people. But apparently she's not able to leave the House floor, I guess. I saw her receive a phone call from Kamala Harris that kind of annoyed me. Just because, I mean, it has nothing to do with race, first and foremost, which, I mean, both of these women are black, that's great. But what it did do for me when I heard Kamala Harris talking to her, seemed very scripted. It seemed very, I don't know. I don't know why people aren't all up in arms about these things, about these moments. And I think that's the thing that's like the point I'm trying to get at is Americans don't really pay attention unless they are individually affected, right? We know this. It's the entire world knows that about America and also about Israel. So I guess there was just this legislation that passed that the United States taxpayers are going to be funding medical and education for Israel. So there's this interesting, very public merge. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. We already know that they've been in cahoots, they've been working together a lot more than I think most Americans recognize up until, 2 years ago when Palestine was like, hey, what's up, y'all? And now it's become pretty common knowledge that the United States and Israel are like one and the same. But a lot of Americans thought that Trump was going to really put America first, right? I mean, the slogan, "Make America Great Again." I remember asking a Trumper, hey, what time frame are you guys referring to? I mean, I knew the answer, but they really don't. They don't understand what the fuck they're even doing. Some of them do, yeah, hate-filled people. But I think that the main thing to think about is how many... Marley. Let me position myself just right. You guys see his claws? Pull me on. Is that a fly on my glasses? Ah! It's trying to kill me. It is a weapon. Anyway. Because the landmass is so big, so like there's a lot happening, and I feel like we've been through this. As much as there is like this consciousness awakening, there's also this same rhythm, I guess, for lack of a better word. There's this same. So for every wave of consciousness of people waking up to the truth, of fighting back, of choosing to resist. And I think it's so interesting when Americans right now are talking about resistance as if Palestine hasn't been trying to tell you resistance is the way to go for the past years, right? That shit is annoying. I think that's what Kamala Harris said on that phone call too. I didn't finish listening because it just seemed scripted. It seemed politically, it seemed like a politrick moment. This woman hasn't been around since she lost the election. She hasn't taken any stages or any, so for her to show up now, it's just like, whatever. So I think that's the ability to critically think about things when they're happening. Because initially I was like, oh, that's cool. The camaraderie and this solidarity. But then I'm like, no, that's not what it is. It's because someone was videotaping, it was just like, there's a lot going on here that's staged. So I guess people are talking about how this is all a distraction for one of the concentration camps, but I mean, talking about how your employee or your co-employees, I mean, I don't care what your position is, but like fellow Congress people are like, you need to sign a permission slip. Excuse me? No. So that's that situation, but apparently there is another camp opening in Texas, or is opened in Texas. Also, I saw this week that there was a thermal report of the Alligator Alcatraz in which there was thermal heating for over 11 hours, incinerators. And we have seen that the incinerators are being circulated. I don't know if you've seen that, but I have. There are incinerators that they are putting here. If you don't know, that those are like gas chambers. Those are to burn people. Oh my god, it's 10 o'clock and it's so hot. We have like 3 more days of 90s and then it's going into the 80s, supposedly. But yesterday it was like 104. I'm sick of it. Anyway. So people are speculating or hypothesizing about the hurricanes flooding the East Coast and how that's going to drive people into you know, like mass safe zones, right? So like when Katrina happened, people went into this arena, and there's a lot of survivors coming out sharing their stories about Katrina. The past few weeks, that's really been circulating on TikTok. And so for Aaron to be here, it's just kind of, you know, people are making that connection too. But because of the martial law that's happening in DC, I'm really bad at East Coast geography. So you've got over 50 kids missing in Virginia. You've got these random ass ice cream trucks and vans that people are following in Virginia. But now that it's like a conversation, it's happening at a national scale. Everyone's sharing where they're seeing ice cream trucks and at what times and stuff. East Coast U.S. map. How close is DC to Virginia? Aren't there two Virginias? A west one and a regular one? Yes, there are. So where is DC? So I mean, if you're on the East Coast, you're probably already aware of this. I just think it's an interesting... Okay, so Washington, D.C. is in the middle of Virginia and Maryland. I don't know. I mean, you guys already know my take on these. I think that these motherfuckers are reptilian vampires. I mean, the information's there, right? We know that Trump has assaulted women. I have a blister on my thumb and the skin is peeling. Remember when we were talking about RFK's speech and he said children are our greatest resource, and we see the way that these systems are abusive towards children. There's information coming out of, I believe this is also Texas, where elementary school special ed teachers are being asked to make lists of the children who are not learning the curriculum at the same pace as regular kids, right? One reason I will never send my kid to school, I know he really wants friends, but he's different, so we're not gonna put him through that. But now they are going to be pulling out these special ed kids. And I mean, wait, this happened in California. So that's the thing. I think Americans have this idea of red and blue, and how the blue states are, you know, Superman, and the red states are, you know... I live in a red state. I moved from a blue state to a red state because individual rights are a little bit more protected in red states. I'm going to keep it super fucking real with you. But also, it doesn't matter because they're all the same and they are all funded by Israel, quite frankly. I really need to take care of this flappy skin before it gets bad. But I just wanted to get on here and say some of those things. So we've got new concentration camps popping up all over the place. I think that this administration has made it clear that they want to work alongside nature in the sense of feeding people to animals, beasts, right? Trump said something after alligator Alcatraz about, oh, we're gonna have bears eating people. I don't know, random shit. What is the... So I saw a resident in Nebraska say, like, hey, people don't pay attention to us. So they're worried about it not getting, like, this, not getting any press because nobody cares about Nebraska. I've driven through Nebraska several times. It's very boring. Why is there... Did you just go down my shirt? Next federal immigration detention center headed to Nebraska's McCook. Nebraska governor announces plan. So these were posted one day ago. Nebraska's governor announces plan for immigration detention center in the state's southwest corner. So I think that's another tactic to, I don't know where Alligator Alcatraz is, but if he's going to put it in the southwest corner of the state, then it's going to be easier to do things state, like beyond state borders, right? I mean, what I would say to you, if you give a fuck, is that we are in civil war. Let me see that skin. We are in civil war. I was gonna put on my bulletproof vest and my helmet and stuff and show you what it looks like. I think that the thing about that is for folks who don't believe that we are in a civil war, it's hard for them to become militarized or vigilante, in the sense of like, I don't know why people, I think there's a lot of things about that, like why people can't claim their own agency, because, you know, they believe fully in God and like the righteousness of their creator and whatever it is they believe in. But ultimately, you really need to protect yourself, right? God doesn't wear a bulletproof vest. You should get one though, right? Oh, I really gotta cut this off. I keep fucking it. But yeah, I'm gonna read through When God Was a Woman. I'm gonna share the affirmation of the day here right now. Life supports me in every way possible. I have to do these. I haven't taken a day off of YouTube in a really long time, so it felt weird yesterday, but I was horizontal as long as possible. If you've ever had kidney stones, they're very painful. But I think I'm actually getting this one broken up. When I had my surgery, they told me like, oh, your entire kidneys are full of stones. Like I had like a little satchel of kidney stones in my kidneys, but that was like 15 years ago. I haven't had any problems until this past week. But anyway, get all these cards ready for the shorts. So pay attention. I say continue to learn and pay attention to what's going on, even if you are not affected. Because ultimately the people who are affected by these things are, you know, at a global scale. At a global scale, we're understanding how the strategy and tactics being used, right? So if nothing else, at least pay attention to that, I guess. But because the United States is so big, it's like we aren't sure, and this is part of psychological warfare. Right, and there's different degrees of psychological warfare, obviously. We've already talked about a lot of those here. But when something happens in like one area, it's the same. It's hard for people to like empathize or feel like that's something that could happen to them. But then it happens again and again and again until it's the new norm. And that's what I think I'm trying to get at is, where we're at. We're not sure who's going to be next. You know, Nebraska, Texas, Florida, Washington, D.C., L.A. L.A. happened on my wedding anniversary. The day that the first L.A. raid happened, it was June 6th. And they've kept a constant presence there, the federal government. So that's been going on 3 months, right? It's just the new norm. So for Washington, D.C., they started last week. That's the new norm, right? And now you have all these other states sending to Washington, D.C. So it's kind of that same idea as like the cop cities, like they're gonna train with, you know, how police train with the IOF or IOF. And then bring those tactics back. I mean, that's something that the United States has always done, right? The same for South America. WINSEC, or the School of the Americas, they took people and trained them in their military, paramilitary, terrorism control, right, here in the United States, and then sent them back to their countries to carry out genocide, carry out massacres. But it's just, I think we're gonna have to continue to constantly talk about these things. I know I'm all over the place because there's a lot of information. There's like, it's a large landmass. So pay attention to where you are. Pay attention to the big cities, urban spaces that are closest to you. Do what you can for the people who are. You know, I'm getting that Under Pressure, which is my favorite song, by Queen and David Bowie, right? Love dares you to care about the people on the streets or something, or people on the... It talks about, you know, that song was written during the AIDS epidemic of the 80s. But it talks about how, you know, we have one more chance, right? And that's what the lyrics are. Give us this one more chance. Like, let's try and do better as humanity, as a collective, right? I don't know. It's fucking infuriating, but it's really hard to keep up. It's hard to acknowledge it when it's happening. So remember to continue to take care of you, your home. Think about what it would be like if your home got bombed. Think about what it would be like if your home got raided, and try and do your best to prepare for that. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. At this point, it's a hostile takeover. We are in a dictatorship, but I don't think it's just a dictatorship. I don't, like I said before, if something were to happen to him, the powers that be, who he has appointed, would remain untouched. So that's when you know it's more than just a dictatorship, and it's like full-on fascism, right? Because a dictatorship is like one person ruling it all, but this is a collaborative effort that has been underway for a very long time, and Trump is the face of it, because he was bought out, right? That's what happens when people can buy you. Your integrity is gone, right? So yeah, he's a douche, but he just had a meeting with Putin, right? And he has meetings with Netanyahu and the president from El Salvador, who is incarcerating people from the United States, right? So this isn't just one dictator this time. This is a collaborative network of incels who are very rich on the fake ass system that they made up, right? Think about Monopoly. It's not real. What we're living through is not real. Like, we could all decide to stop participating and build something else, and that's what we need to do. But for some reason, Americans can't unless they are directly affected. So for the most part, it only takes like 3 to 8. I feel like 8% is way too much. I feel like it's like only, I don't know, there's a certain tiny percentage of the population that is needed to tip the scales entirely. And while we're continuing to have these awakenings, they're also continuing to, again, it's a very parallel relationship. People are continuing to awakening, and as people continue to awakening, more concentration camps are being opened, right? So do what you can while you're still free. Share information, educate yourselves, work on your homes, do the things that you need to do to look out for you and yours. May the odds ever be in your favor. Have a good one.